Good morning. It's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend for another spiritual chat on manifesting. I hope everybody is well. It's Friday where I am. In other parts of the world, it's already Saturday. So happy weekend to you. Today, I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about, universe? And I sat down and I was kind of like, where should we go with this manifesting chat? I watched back yesterday and I was like, oh, I missed parts that I wanted to talk about. And so we're just going to go with this, but it's sort of about how your everyday little comments here and there are actually creating your life. And maybe you're not really thinking about it that way. And I'm going to go to this quote from Florence Scovel Shinn. And she said, the subconscious has no sense of humor. And people often joke themselves into unhappy experiences. So if you think about those things that you hear all the time, right? Fuck my life, the FML comments, you'll hear people go, oh, I'm such a mess. I'm a disaster. I can't get it together. Well, then you can't, you won't, and you are. Your subconscious doesn't know any different. So this is sort of talk is really more about encouraging you. It's not about you're broken and look at all these things. Just look around the world. Pay attention to the conversations you hear. Pay attention to the things that people are saying on TV. People are saying in conversations around you if you eavesdrop. To the things your friends say, to the memes they post, to the things that you say in jest, joking. Again, the subconscious has no sense of humor. I don't say things like FML because I think it's horrible, because I think I have a really good life, right? It's not perfect. I've come from not perfect things, but I don't say those things. So I was listening to, and then I thought it was really beautiful how I started not re-listening to it, but I had started it yesterday and didn't get to finish it. This podcast, Smartless, it's with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes, and they interview different celebrities. And I was listening to the Tiffany Haddish interview, and it was so different than I had expected. I expected to just go on there and listen to her like laugh and crack jokes and talk about her projects. And she did talk about her projects, but what I'm encouraging here and why I want to talk about her specifically is when you're learning how to manifest and you're learning how to create the life you want, coaches are great. People who are selling stuff are great. But I always say, look for people in real life who are doing it. And maybe they're not talking about it as manifesting, but look at their language and look at how they talk about themselves, their goals. I always say Conor McGregor, who's an MMA fighter. I don't watch MMA. I just happened to stumble upon this guy. He manifests what he wants. He says, I am going to win this. I see it as my match has already won. Sarah Blakely, who owns Spanx, talks about it. She's like, let's see it done. She talks about how when she was in high school, her dad gave her these tapes when her parents got divorced, and they were I don't know if they were affirmation or law of attraction or what. I don't always think law of attraction works for me. I really like the law of assumption. It's done, that's it. I don't have to worry about if I'm in the right vibrational stance of it. I think that kind of the vibrational thing got lost when, you talk about being in alignment. Well, being in alignment means that you're in full, you're persisting, right? I don't necessarily, when I first start my affirmations, I don't necessarily fully believe them, but I'm like, well, I got to shift that mindset somehow. So I have to persist. Anyway, so Tiffany Haddish is talking. And the thing that struck me most, that made me be like, I have to bring this up today, is she said, they were asking her, she's talking about her weekend and what her Saturday was going to be. And she had to go do stuff for work, which was promoting, or I think she was going to some movie premiere. I don't know if it was hers or not. And they said, well, do you enjoy doing work or whatever? And she said, I don't see it as work. I see it as opportunity. And it's like that, take that every day as an opportunity. Maybe it's not the day that the big thing is going to happen, but it's an opportunity to shift your mindset. It's an opportunity to become aware of your thoughts It's an opportunity to observe. It's an opportunity to connect with others, to take a moment to create. It's an opportunity to reprogram. Every day is that way. And if you make every day that way, instead of going, oh, I just have to do this again, everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. And I know you're like, but Anna, I have to pay my bills and I have to work. Well, you could be homeless. I'm not saying I want you to be that way, but everything becomes a choice. So if you take it as like empowering yourself instead of feeling like a victim to everything, everything changes. So she said that. Then she was talking about, and so she wasn't saying I'm manifesting, but the way she was talking, you saw this is how she's creating it. This is what's going on. She was talking about Martin, the comedian, and how, well, so what rolled into this is they were talking about who were her inspirations, because she said she grew up in, I think she said South Central LA, and it was predominantly Black and Mexican, and she thought white people were all from movies and TV shows. And she said, and they asked her who were her influences. And she said Martin and Family Matters. And then they kind of talked about how Martin was so funny. And she said, it's interesting because when I was young, I would look at these, watch his shows, and I would think, I don't know, someday I'm going to work with him. Someday I'm going to, and she said it wasn't a sense of knowing. She was just saying it, like, I'm going to work with him. I'm going to hang out, I'm going to hang out with him. It's going to happen. I doubt if you ask her, she would say like, oh, I thought about it every day and I wrote about it every day. It was just like, I'm going to do this. That's it. And it wasn't like she was like, looking through the yellow pages, how to get a hold of him and getting an agent. She grew up in foster care. So it's interesting. And then she said, Will Arnett chimed in and he said, well, that's how it works. That's how it works with your imagination. You start dreaming about it because, it's not just that. You do have to do work towards it, but that's how it starts. Successful people get that the ideas and the manifestations come from here first. You imagine it into being. I always say this, like Jim Carrey talks about going up in the Hollywood Hills, and he didn't have any money at the time, and I think he was driving a Toyota Corolla or something little, some little 4-door car, and said he just had this vision. And when he wrote that $10 million check, he didn't have anything. He just wrote a date. By this time, this is going to happen, and he carried it around and he imagined. So then I was listening to, through these conversations, I'm just picking out things that I noticed and I became aware of just through observation of this could shift, this could be better. How are we creating our things? So Sean Hayes said, she was talking about, she is like, Tiffany Haddish is my new inspiration, where I'm like, yes, 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 and more yes. Like, she was talking about how she's creating a grocery store in South Central, because Trader Joe's only puts stores where there are predominantly large numbers of people who graduate from college. And she said, there are successful people in my community, but they're not necessarily college graduates. They're people who work with their hands. And she said, and how can I help people and a lot of people at once? And she said, she was talking about also, she read the book, The Color of Money. And she was saying how money in Black communities only stays in circulation for 6 hours, whereas in Asian communities, it's up to like 12 or 14 days. And what that meant was, through Black-owned businesses, through businesses owned by Asian communities. And she was talking about how she said, and I'm saying what she said because I don't know. So if you want to listen to her, please go listen to Smartless and listen to this interview. It's fantastic. She was saying how, I go and get my hair done and then that's it. That's where the money goes. It stops there because there aren't a lot of businesses owned by Black people in those communities. So she said what she wants to do is open this grocery store. And then she's like, there are thousands of products that you sell, thousands of businesses within a grocery store. And she wants to make sure that the majority of those businesses are from Black owned companies. So black farmers owned by black people that to support their business, and all the products. And I thought that is such a vision and so beautiful. And she's like, I've got this book, her vision board, right? She's got the plan. It's not here yet in the 3D, but she's persisting. I am doing this, she said. I am doing this. It's happening in 2 to 3 years. She set the plan. She said, you start talking to your friends, you start putting out into the universe, you can set the right people are coming into my path to help me grow my plan. These are affirmations that will help it work. And you do need to work on self-concept and other affirmations, but you also have to make action. You have to put forth that action. You can't just sit in your living room and go, it's coming to me, love is coming to me. Like, you got to go out and do the things that are going to get you there. Well, you want love with someone who's, if you have a specific person, I got to tell you, nobody wants to be with somebody who feels terrible about themselves. Do you want to be with somebody who feels terrible about themselves, who has low self-esteem, who, doesn't take pride in themselves? No, that's where the self-concept comes in. That's where rebuilding yourself, because nobody can love you as good and fill up your love tank as you can. Nobody. You are an endless supply of love for yourself. You are the endless supply. You are the decider of your happiness. No one can make you happy. They can add to it a little bit. They can enjoy the experience with you, but they can't be the sole source if you are empty. And I'm not saying you're broken. We've all got our own stuff, but I'm saying that you have to make the choice to better yourself. You have to make the choice to heal yourself. No one can do that for you. People can help you and share the tools, but ultimately the choice is yours to do that for yourself. So she's working on herself, right? She's working on her plan and her vision. And then she said in 10 years, this is a bigger vision and a bigger goal, and how she does it, she's going to have these grocery stores in low-income communities to help grow in those areas too. And I also thought this was really cool. And I was like, that's so, like, she's just thinking of the future and making it happen and come to her. So she said, she's dating Common. And she said, first of all, she looked at marriage differently, rather than like, I'm going to fall in love and be beautiful. She goes, no, this is two businesses coming together in a contract. Marriage is about contracts. Like, that's where it originally came from, contracts and dowries and maintaining generational wealth and growth. And she told Common that she didn't want an engagement ring, because she's like, what's that? She's like, I want a deed to a building, because that grows wealth. I can pass a ring down to a kid, but what's that? They need a place to live. They've got it. We need to sell it because we're sick. We've got money for it. Like, she's constantly manifesting and growing, and she's thinking in the positive. She's not thinking, I can't make this happen, this is impossible. She's thinking, this is what's going to happen. This is my plan. I am doing this. So Sean Hayes then was asking about, because he didn't understand what she meant by being in the money flow. And he said, excuse me, I'm an idiot. What does that mean? Pay attention to what follows I am. Pay attention to the words, the phrases that follow I am, in yourself and in others. Shift those things. You don't have to say, I'm an idiot. You could say, I just don't understand. Would you mind explaining it to me? It's okay to not understand. What else did I read? Oh, help me understand. Then you're not I aming anything. You're not declaring anything about yourself. If the I am in you is the God part of you, would you follow a God that said, I'm an idiot? No. Don't declare yourself. Don't declare that God part of you as an idiot. Anything that follows I am is the God part of you. So I thought it was great that she had these plans and so this is where you're seeing like how people are manifesting things if you just listen and ways that you can do it without feeling crazy. There are a lot of things, and I said this yesterday. If you weren't meant to be the creator of it, you wouldn't be inspired to do it. You wouldn't get the vision. Stop talking yourself out of it. Stop talking yourself out of it. Why are you talking yourself out of it? Are you afraid of failure? You can never, ever, ever succeed if you're not willing to fail first. You will never succeed if you're not willing to fail first. Then she was talking about how she had actually been homeless. So this is a woman who had been homeless. That is persisting against all 3D odds. That is like, you talk about having something in your face that you can't run away from, that you have to go, but I'm moving on. I'm moving out of this. I'm growing out of this. She said that I don't know who it was that helped her out of it. Kevin. I didn't catch all of that because I was sort of working on getting ready and wet hair. And she said he helped her. He finally realized that because even though she was homeless, she said, I fix my hair every day. I don't know. She said she changed her underwear. What she like made sure that it wasn't obvious she was homeless. She said she had baby wipes that smelled good. And somebody sort of figured it out through conversations, and they gave her a couple $100 and said, write out your goals. Write out your goals and take a step towards it every day. And it's true. You're not going to be able to just I have goals for my business. I have goals for how I see my future growing, for generational wealth, and, leaving my limited money beliefs and growing into limitless beliefs, and I don't expect it to happen overnight, but I know that I have to take a step towards it every day. And so I sit in those moments where I have quiet or when I'm doing other things that that I'm just moving through my subconscious and I don't have to really think about it, like laundry and whatever. And I say, all right, guys, what's up? How can I grow today? How can I move towards my goals? Send me in that direction. And the inspiration comes. The conversation will come later. The knowing will come later. The brilliance will pop into my head, right? I write it down. I go and I write it down. If I don't have a pen and paper to write it down on, I mean, I've been writing stuff down in this folder. I have another binder that I have my to-do list manifesting thing. And I write it down and I carry it over until it's done, until I can cross it off. I keep carrying it over. And I don't get down on myself if I'm carrying it over, because you can't possibly do everything in 24 hours. And I know they say you can manifest anything in an instant. Some things, yeah. But some things we have a bigger story around them and they're going to take longer, and be okay with that. That's okay. You can shift the story so it's not as big, right? There's that. Oh, one other thing she said was, I am a visionary. It was really interesting to hear because she wasn't speaking. There was 1 second at the very end where you could see that catch of her maybe thinking she was boasting too much, like, I'm doing these things, I'm making it happen, where she was like, well, hopefully, God willing, God will make those things happen to her, the I am, because she has the vision. She has the vision and she's persisting against all odds. She's persisting against, she's not doubting herself. She's saying, this is going to happen. The right people are coming in. It's not as easy as you think, right? Because she said people in the Black community were like, well, Oprah makes all this money. Why doesn't she come back in? Oprah could probably make it happen pretty easy, but but she's persisting. And you look at Oprah. Oprah persisted. She persisted against all odds. Sarah Blakely persisted against all odds. She was moving into a business that was heavily dominated by men, which is hilarious that men were creating all of these undergarments for women. So my guides are reminding me of, remember when you said, I had a patient who was, her children were, she had a set of twins in the NICU, and they were having, one of them was having a hard time latching. I think the other one was too, I can't remember. And I said, and they were just feeder growers. So, which means they just needed it to be there to gain weight and grow a little bit before they went home, but they were in great shape. And I had come from working in a postpartum, antepartum, GYN surgical unit. I learned so much about breastfeeding because I always made it in every unit I worked in. I always tried to learn from the people that specialize so that I could answer the questions for my patients when those people weren't necessarily, at least basic questions, when they weren't necessarily available to really assist and spend the time with them. So I talked to people, the lactation consultants, and I learned from them, and I watched them. If I had a few minutes, I would watch how they would help latch so that I could help my patients in those moments. So they weren't getting frustrated and feeling, so they weren't getting skin breakdown and everything else. And I remember talking to this mom, and I said, the baby will latch as soon as you relax. As soon as I said, I bet you anything, as soon as you go home, you get ready to go home and and you're relaxed, your baby will latch. And they looked at me, and it was like, you've never breastfed, because I was like still single and didn't have children yet. Well, and I said, my response was, well, I've never had a prostate, and I was able to help in nursing school. I was able to help men after they had prostate surgery. So, that was sort of my thing. So people can help you. Anyway, she said, I am a visionary. I am a visionary. And she's going to do amazing things because she is speaking as if she already has it. She is speaking with empowerment. She isn't downgrading herself in jest. She is owning all of her, everything good about herself. And I encourage you to pay attention to what you're saying. Pay attention what's following I am. And don't have judgment about it. Don't go, oh, I'm such a terrible person for that. No, because you're building more of it. You just didn't know. And now that you know, you can do better, right? Now that you're starting to hear about it and learn about it, you can move through and do better. Let me see. I wrote notes down from it, so I want to make sure. Oh, after we're talking about write a list of goals and take a step towards it every day, Sean Hayes chimed in. He goes, that's what I tell when I go do talks at colleges. That's what I always tell them, write a list of goals. And that's what I do every day. I have everyday goals and I have bigger goals. So I have goals every day of the things and the tasks that I want to complete, changing sheets and things like that. It also keeps me from getting overwhelmed. And sometimes what I do, if you have a hard time and you think that's a lot, I'll write down the time it takes to do each one so I don't procrastinate, I got to do that now, right? So I write down, so I'm like, oh, that only takes 10 minutes, or that only takes 5 minutes. I'll go knock that out really quick. And then I'm done. And then I feel accomplished. And so instead of going, oh, I was so lazy today, I thought, I got things done today. Is it towards my business goals? No, but I got things done today. So you're shifting into a more positive mindset. You're able to look back at your day and reflect and feel that you made progress. Because if you sit around constantly thinking about what you don't have and where you're trying to move, you're going to look around yourself at the end of the day and think, but I didn't do anything else but stay in my imagination, right? We can all do this sometimes. I know you have jobs and everything else. So I write down my daily goals, and then I write down the things that are priority, and I write down, those are my daily things. And then I have on the other page, I have my bigger visions, and I have my self concept stuff, so that I stay in the self concept of, I'm powerful. I'm chosen. I am valuable. I am worthy of all of these things that I want to manifest. And then, the visionary stuff of what I want for my career growth. Money's always coming in, all of that stuff. I do that on the daily. I did the sleep affirmations, and it really did make a big difference. But I still find comfort on keeping myself on track on the daily. It doesn't mean I'm doing it for 24 hours. Some days it's 5 minutes, some days it's 20 minutes. And I don't have a super strict, I just say let's sit down today. And I don't beat myself up if I don't get to it one day. But I always have my goals, my daily goals written down. And then I also think about what can I do today that's going to help me grow my business? What can I do today that's going to, um, so it may not even be something that, like, it may be sitting about talking about, okay, well, what do I want to chat about with people? What do people need to hear about that's going to motivate them? What's going to add value to their day that I can share with them that's helped me? What's going to inspire them that's helped me? I don't think like I know nothing. I just go, all right, let's go, let's talk. Because I know that one of my gifts is my intuition. I know that chatting with my guides is easy. And I know that they will always provide. That's how I wrote my inspirational talks when I do church services. I might get an idea when because they'll ask me a month ahead of time if I want to, or 2 months ahead of time, depending when they were in person. And I would put it on the calendar. I might go, oh, maybe I'll talk about this. And then I would sit there the day of or the day before because the service is at night, so I could write it in the day of. And it's a 10-minute chat, if that, 8-10 minutes. It's nothing big because there's other parts of the service. And I would say, all right, what do they need to know about? What's in the energy that's going to serve them? What's in the collective energy that's really going to serve the most amount of people today? Let's go. And I sat down and I would write. And that's sort of what I do on a daily. I'm like, all right, what do people need to know? And I write my ideas down. Or what else can I do to be of service? What other skill can I share that will be of service to others? Because I really believe part of my purpose is to be of service to others, to help others. How can I grow? I'll say, like, one of my manifestations is I see the truth in who people are. I'm able to see the red flags because I grew up for a long time only seeing the good in people and then finding myself like in these predicaments of like, dismissing those things. So I honor the red flags now, and the universe provides. How are they providing? What are the signs? It's the repetition that keeps coming up. So always wanted to learn about manifesting and affirmation. I've been doing this, started with the law of attraction 20 years ago. And over the years, the law of assumption started presenting itself, right? It presented itself as this guy who did a reading for me, talking about saying, I am healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise, I am young, da, 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 da. And he goes, the I ams of Florence Scovel Shinn. And then it came into me stumbling upon Joseph Ally and Neville Goddard and, reading Wayne Dyer, all these different ways, right? And it wasn't in search of, literally it was like, oh, this person came up in my YouTube algorithm, the YouTube gods, as I call them. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, but again, this was sort of like when you're manifesting, instead of just going through your day like a robot or constantly worrying and thinking about the things that aren't working for you, make it an affirmation or a goal or a manifestation of your own to become aware of the collective thoughts that are holding you back from your own growth, that are limiting you. Make it be your goal to become of your own thoughts, right? To become, that's what meditation is being present in the moment. So being aware of the things that are following I am, whether it's your I am or somebody else's. It'll shift you into shifting the things that you say about yourself and your own journey. It's okay to say, like, I think it's much more inspiring to listen to somebody say, like, I'm doing these things. I'm a visionary. I don't think someone's crazy for doing that. I think it's inspiring because I think, how many times do you hear somebody say, like, I'm a mess. I can't get it together. Yes, you can. Stop saying that. It's one foot in front of the other. Like, if you're overwhelmed by the stuff, I'm looking at the room around me right now, and I'm like, I gotta neaten up this room. It's one thing at a time. Don't think you have to do it all at once. The mountain, when they're clearing out a mountain pass, a path, a roadway to get through a mountain, they didn't just take the whole section out. It was one day at a time. And eventually the goal was met. And Tiffany Haddish even said, like, they're like, oh, look at you now, blah, blah, blah. She's like, it took time. anybody who's very successful didn't go like, oh, bam, then overnight. Like, even if you see those people who are like, I blew up overnight on TikTok or whatever, how many of them sustained that percentage wise? Because maybe they didn't have the I am powerful behind it. They had enough to get in there, but they didn't have enough of the self-concept, the healthy self-concept to keep themselves there. So I hope this was helpful. I will see you guys on Sunday for my regular psychic medium question hour-ish. It's $5 a question on Sundays, 30% goes to charity. I always donate to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey because I don't think people should be worried about where their next meal is coming from, and every dollar provides 3 meals there, so really goes a long way. So if you would like to join me, if you would like to donate for that, not join and just to donate, I'll donate all of yours. If you don't have a question, that's fine. Yeah, so join me, subscribe, like, share me with your friends. I'm grateful you were here listening today, and I hope this is helpful. And I will see you again on Sunday for sure, and then Monday for more chats. During the week, we'll do spiritual chats. On Sundays is devoted to answering your psychic questions or mediumship. Have a great one. Bye.